Among all the deaths in Marvel Comics, none feels as human or as helpless as the death of Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was not brought down by a supervillain or some cosmic-level threat. Instead, he was killed by something very real and very human: cancer. In The Death of Captain Marvel 1982, we see a superhero who could fly across galaxies, stand toe-to-toe with Thanos, and outclass the greatest enemies, lose to something that his powers couldn't fix. Throughout the story, every major hero, like Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, tries to help, but no one can save him. Captain Marvel's death stands out because it broke the rules. There was no last-second miracle, no alien technology, no secret cure, just acceptance. He spent his final moments with friends gathered around, and when he passed, it wasn't with explosions or flashy heroics. It was with quiet dignity. It's a rare superhero story that treats death as inevitable and meaningful rather than as a temporary plot twist. Comic book lovers were forced to confront loss, not escape it. In the Ultimate Marvel Universe, Peter Parker's death was pure heartbreak. It wasn't a fake-out. It wasn't erased a few issues later. It was final. In Ultimate Fallout and Ultimate Spider-Man number 160, Peter faces off against Norman Osborn, who escapes from S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, leading to a chaotic, brutal battle in the streets. Peter is already battered from protecting Captain America moments earlier. He fights on anyway, knowing that he's not walking away from this. When Peter saves Aunt May from one of the Green Goblin's attacks, he takes a fatal blow. Lying in the arms of the woman who raised him, Peter's last words are, "I couldn't save Uncle Ben, but I saved you." It's the purest expression of Peter Parker's life mission of saving others no matter the cost. And even though Miles Morales would rise to take the Spider-Man mantle, Peter's death left a permanent scar. It wasn't about multiverses or cosmic resets. It was about a kid trying to do the right thing, giving everything he had for the people he loved. Logan was practically immortal for decades. His healing factor meant he survived nuclear blasts, adamantium poisoning, and more battles than anyone could count. But in The Death of Wolverine 2014, even that came to an end. The story begins with a horrifying twist. Logan's healing powers are gone, permanently disabled by a virus. For the first time in his long, brutal life, he can be hurt and he can die. Instead of running, Wolverine does what he always does. He confronts the people responsible. After a final battle with Dr. Cornelius, one of the scientists behind the Weapon X program, Logan sacrifices himself to stop a new generation of mutants from being weaponized. The final image of Logan, encased in cooling adamantium, standing tall and proud, is haunting. He dies not in a grand battle against gods or monsters, but in a quiet personal sacrifice to stop others from enduring what he did. For someone whose life was defined by endless violence, his death carried a rare, powerful dignity. And it felt like the closing of a tragic but beautiful novel. If there's one death that shook Marvel's fans to their core, it's Jean Grey's sacrifice in the Dark Phoenix Saga 1980. After being corrupted by the Cosmic Phoenix Force, Jean becomes the Dark Phoenix, a being of unimaginable power that threatens entire galaxies. Despite her love for her fellow X-Men, she realizes that she can't control the darkness inside her. Rather than risk harming those she loves, Jean takes her own life on the moon, with Cyclops, her soulmate and lover, watching helplessly. Her final moments aren't just about saving the universe, they're about reclaiming her own agency. It's one of the first times a superhero was portrayed not just as a larger-than-life figure, but as a deeply flawed, relatable human being. Jean's death wasn't sensationalized. It was tragic, painful, honest, and it changed X-Men forever. Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, would never fully recover from losing Jean, and her sacrifice became one of the defining moments of Marvel storytelling. After the superhero Civil War, Steve Rogers surrenders to authorities to stop further bloodshed. As he walks up the courthouse steps, a sniper's bullet coordinated by the Red Skull and executed through the brainwashed Sharon Carter takes him down. The death of Captain America in Captain America Volume 5 was more than a gut punch, it was a cultural event. What makes this death so devastating is how unheroic it feels. Cap doesn't die in a battlefield clash or saving the world from an alien threat. He dies from a bullet, murdered while in handcuffs, in the middle of a fractured America. Captain America always represented the ideal of justice and freedom. His death showed how even the greatest heroes can be taken down not by great evil, but by political corruption, fear, and betrayal. In a world where heroes were supposed to be larger than life, Steve Rogers' death reminded everyone that heroes are still vulnerable, and sometimes their enemies aren't monsters, but the society they always protected. Doctor Strange's death wasn't just another loss, it felt like the collapse of a protective wall. In The Death of Doctor Strange 2021, Stephen Strange is found dead inside the Sanctum Sanctorum, his body brutally murdered. Without Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, the entire dimension becomes exposed. Waves of mystical invaders flood into reality, with no one powerful enough to stop them. Dormammu, Klee, and other major magical forces scramble to fill the vacuum left behind. What made this death so frightening wasn't just Strange's physical absence, it was the realization that Earth had been shielded from horrors beyond comprehension because of him. Without Strange, reality turned into a nightmare. Even when a younger version of Stephen is conjured to investigate his murder, it's a temporary fix, a reminder that the original Sorcerer Supreme is truly gone. His death wasn't just a plot twist, it reshaped Marvel's magical landscape, and left readers wondering, if even Doctor Strange could be taken out so easily, what hope did the world have? Janet Van Dyne's death during Secret Invasion is one of the most horrifying moments in Avengers history. In a final desperate move, the Skrulls infect Janet with alien technology that turns her into a massive bioweapon, a bomb. Her powers spiral out of control, causing her to grow rapidly and uncontrollably. She pleads with her teammates to stop her before she explodes, taking half of Manhattan with her. Thor, forced into an impossible situation, uses his hammer to end her life swiftly. Janet wasn't just an original Avenger, she was the heart and soul of the team. Her death was sudden, graphic, and agonizing. It left the Avengers shaken to their core, with many blaming themselves for letting the invasion reach that point. Janet's death wasn't a heroic last stand. It was a cruel, senseless tragedy, the worst kind. And it showed that even founding members of the team weren't safe when Marvel Universe decided to break your heart. During the Civil War, one of the most shocking moments was the death of Bill Foster, aka Goliath. When the pro-registration side realizes they can't defeat Captain America's forces, they unleash a secret weapon, a clone of Thor, created by Tony Stark and Reed Richards. But something goes terribly wrong. During the battle, clone Thor fires a lightning blast through Bill's chest, killing him instantly. The sight of Bill's giant body, lifeless and collapsed in a city street, is one of the most haunting images in Marvel Comics. Bill's death wasn't just tragic because he was a hero. It was tragic because it was so utterly preventable. Heroes who once stood side by side turned on each other, and their blindness cost an innocent life. Goliath's death forced many heroes to reconsider their choices. It was the turning point where readers realized that the Civil War wasn't just about ideological differences. It was about how good people could be manipulated into committing unforgivable acts. Which of these Marvel deaths hit you the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want another episode of this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. More epic stories are coming soon.